One day, the CEO of a company, Adrian Cole, grew tired of the endless complaints, gossip, and bitter competition that filled his office. He had a promotion to announce, but he wanted to give it to someone with true character. So he made a choice. He would secretly test every staff member himself. The next morning, he walked into the office dressed not as a CEO, but as a new junior assistant. Most staff didn't even look at him, too busy with their own ambitions. Except for two women, a light-skinned employee named Lina and a dark-skinned worker named Mara. Both seemed kind at first, but Adrian soon realized only one of them possessed genuine integrity. He watched them closely, knowing his decision depended on what he saw. On his first day as an undercover CEO, Mr. Adrian Cole carried a stack of files toward the meeting room. A young woman, Lina, bumped into him, making him drop several papers. She sighed loudly. "You must be the new assistant. Try to move faster next time." Adrian simply apologized and gathered the scattered documents. A few moments later, another woman, Mara, approached him as he arranged the chairs. "You must be new here," she said with a warm smile. "Don't worry, you'll get the hang of things soon enough." Two different women, two different hearts. One judged by the uniform, the other by the person inside it. Before you make a quick judgment, remember this. The true measure of a person's character is how they treat someone who they believe can do nothing for them. In the middle of a busy hallway, he purposely dropped a large stack of documents, scattering them across the floor. He watched as his employees stepped over the mess without a second thought. One of them, Lina Brooks, even rolled her eyes at him. "Seriously," she scoffed. "Be careful next time." She walked away, leaving him to struggle. But then a quiet voice spoke up. "Let me help," Mara Daniels said softly as she knelt beside him. She began gathering the papers without any fanfare. Her kindness wasn't loud or for show, but it was genuine. Adrian took careful note of who she was. Her simple act of compassion spoke volumes more than any resume ever could. One day, he left an envelope containing $5,000 on an empty desk in the office. The first to notice it was an employee named Lina. Her eyes darted around the room before she swiftly hid the envelope in her drawer, thinking no one had seen her. She thought to herself, "Finders keepers. This will solve so many of my problems." Later that day, another worker, Mara, spotted the same envelope. Her eyes widened at the amount of cash inside. Instead of taking it, she immediately went to security. She handed it over, saying simply, "Someone must be looking for this. I hope it finds its way back to them." The CEO, watching from afar, saw everything. He had his answer. One small act, two different choices. But one afternoon, Mr. Adrian Cole, the junior assistant, announced to the office that he had made a terrible mistake on a report and might get fired. He hung his head, looking defeated. A colleague named Lina Brooks sighed and shook her head. "Maybe he's just not fit for this kind of job anyway," she muttered to the person beside her. But from across the room, another worker, Mara Daniels, spoke up. "He's new," she said, her voice trembling slightly but firm. "Give him some time to learn." She stood her ground, defending him in front of everyone. Adrian watched her silently from the corner of his eye, a small, impressed smile touching his lips. Sometimes, a person's true character is revealed not in how they treat their superiors, but in how they defend the lowest among them. One evening, Mr. Adrian Cole, a junior assistant, announced a last-minute overtime task. Most employees grumbled, but one, Lina Brooks, complained loudly. "Why should we stay late because of some new guy's mistake?" She scoffed, glaring at him. She gathered her things and stormed out, leaving a pile of work behind. As Adrian struggled alone with several heavy boxes, another worker, Mara Daniels, quietly came to his side. Even though she was exhausted, she started lifting a box. "You shouldn't be doing this all by yourself," she whispered, her voice kind. As they worked, Adrian felt something shift inside him. It wasn't romance, it was deep, profound respect. He saw her true character, not in a grand gesture, but in a quiet act of help. Sometimes the smallest kindnesses reveal the biggest hearts. The next morning, everyone gathered for the big announcement. Lina Brooks sat tall in her chair, a confident smile playing on her lips, certain the promotion was hers. Mara Daniels, however, stood quietly in the back, her hopes dimmed. Just then, the man they knew as the new junior, Adrian, walked in wearing an expensive suit. Gasps of shock and whispers filled the room. "The new assistant is the CEO?" one person muttered. Lina's confident smile vanished instantly, replaced by a look of pure panic. Mara froze, her eyes wide with disbelief. Adrian Cole cleared his throat and finally spoke, his voice calm but firm. "I wasn't testing your performance," he announced, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. "I was testing your character." He began to read from his notes, his voice steady and clear. Some were kind only when they thought someone important was watching. Lina, one of the hopeful candidates, looked down at the floor, a flicker of shame in her eyes. He continued, "And some helped simply because it was the right thing to do, regardless of who was watching." The other candidate, Mara, felt her eyes glisten with unshed tears. Then the CEO looked up from his notes and made his announcement. "The promotion," he declared, "goes to Mara Daniels. For her honesty, for her kindness, for her integrity." The room erupted in applause as Mara stood in stunned silence. True character is what you do when no one is watching. After the meeting, Mara approached the CEO with trembling hands. She couldn't believe what had just happened. She had been promoted, given a raise, and praised in front of everyone. "Sir," she began, her voice barely a whisper, I don't deserve this." The CEO, Mr. Adrian Cole, smiled warmly. "You earned it, Mara," he said. "You earned it when you thought no one was watching." Mara's eyes filled with tears as she remembered the quiet junior employee she had helped, never knowing it was her boss in disguise. "Thank you," she managed to say. "I promise I'll do my best." "No," Adrian replied gently, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You already did. This is a story not about luck, but about character. Before you think no one sees your efforts, remember this. Your true worth is revealed when you think you are invisible."